If you're thinking about selling your car, following these 5 tips will help you get the most money for it.
In this video, we're gonna go over 5 things you can do to get the most money for your car as a private seller. So let's start with how much money is your car actually worth? The 2 best ways to find out what your vehicle is worth when selling it as a private party is by looking it up on kellybluebook.com or nada.com. They're usually pretty close in price, and I always like to go with the one that says it's worth more. But in all honesty, nada.com is what most banks are going to use when they're lending money for an auto loan, so that's the more official one out of the 2. Now, does your vehicle have any problems? Is it even worth it to fix it, or do you just want to sell it as is?
If you have a new car, it might be worth fixing it up a little bit to get the maximum dollar value for it. Showing the receipts for the repairs helps the new buyer feel a lot more confident in paying a higher price for a car because they're essentially saving money in the long run. However, if the vehicle is like 20 years old and the paint is faded or it has some dents, just knock off a couple $100 off the asking price. You need to determine what you're willing to pay, if anything at all, in order to fix up your car before you sell it. Almost all of the tips that we give are pretty cheap, so unless you have something mechanically wrong with your car, you should be able to do almost everything in this video for less than a couple $100.
If you want to get the most money for your car, you need to try selling it yourself. If you're lazy and you sell it to a used car lot, you're going to get a fraction of what the car's value actually is because car lots are in the business of making a profit, right? Mm-hmm. They buy cars for a low price and then they sell them for a high price in order to make a profit. Crazy. Yeah. That's not what you want. You want to make the most money on your car, not somebody else making it.
People like shiny things, including myself, which is why tip number 1 is wax and wash your car. Even if you just take it through a car wash, take some time to detail it. Clean it out, vacuum it out, wash the dashboard, clean the door panels, wipe down the center console, make it look pretty. The shinier it is, the better and easier it's going to be to sell your car. Something else you can do is you should clean underneath the hood, but we suggest that you probably hire a professional. We don't recommend that you clean the underneath part of your car, like underneath the hood, unless you know what you're doing. Because if you spray water in the wrong spots, you could literally kill your car, and it's a lot harder to sell a dead car. So don't do it unless you know what you're doing. Cleaning it doesn't make the car run any better, but people assume that it's better taken care of.
Basically, what he's saying is make the car look like something that you're trying to sell. If you go to a new car dealership and you expect the car to be immaculate and super clean, you got to do the same thing with your car when you're trying to sell it. And it's probably going to sell a lot faster that way. So a quick pro tip is renewing the old faded rubber or plastic trim around the windows or wherever it's at on your car makes it look a lot nicer. Yeah. You don't have to do it, but it's definitely going to help. You can use stuff like All American Armor. It's a silicone-based conditioner. It cleans all the crap off the rubber and it makes it look like it's new again.
If you guys like this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're putting out new content every week to help you guys have an easier time as being young adults. Tip number 2, change the oil. And make sure that it's topped off if you don't change the oil. Changing your oil is pretty cheap. You can do it yourself if you know how to for about 25 bucks, or you could pay to have a shop do it for about 50 bucks on average. Jiffy Lubes, Oil Can Henry's, Walmart's, Costco's, and a bunch of other mechanic shops can do an oil change pretty quickly, and that's one of the main things that people will look at even if they don't know anything about cars. Mm-hmm. If the potential seller checks your oil and it's black like tar, they're probably not going to want to buy your car because it looks like it's not taken care of.
Number 3, the next thing is checking the tires. If you don't know how to check your tires, you're basically looking at the part of the tire that touches the ground. You want to measure the tread depth, and it's a super simple thing to do. All you got to do is find a regular US penny and turn old Abe Lincoln upside down and stick his head in the tread. If you can see all of Abe Lincoln's head, you should consider replacing your tires. That means they're going bald. Mm-hmm. If the tread goes up past his head, then the tread depth is good enough and you don't need to worry about replacing your tires yet. If your tires are bald or they're low on tread, you might think about buying the cheapest pair of tires that are new that you can find, or even getting used ones if you don't have the money.
A lot of places sell used tires too. they're great, and they typically have a lot of tread left on them when you buy them, and they're going to be a lot cheaper than the new tires. They won't come with a warranty or anything, but they're still that same exact tire that you have, or a tire that was taken off of a different vehicle, and this tire shop just has it in their inventory. So they'd sell you that tire for $30, and there you go. Now you have, one tire or two tires or whatever it is that you might need for a lot cheaper than buying them used, or buying them new.
Well, because like a new tire can run you, I don't know, it depends on the car and the type of tire and everything, but I don't know. Let's say $125 to $200 on average, and definitely up from there if you got a truck.
Oh, for sure. Tip number 4, fix small mechanical issues. For example, let's say that you have a headlight out or a brake light. Those things are pretty easy to replace. Even if your brakes are like grinding, changing brake pads isn't that complicated, and they're pretty cheap to swap out. If you have some basic mechanic skills and tools, you could literally watch 100 YouTube videos that'll walk you through how to change the brake pads on your particular vehicle if you don't know how to, or if you don't have any family or friends that can help you.
I've done it.
So
by watching YouTube videos.
you should do it.
Yeah.
I mean, these small mechanical fixes, they can make you a lot of extra money when you're selling the new vehicle, or selling your vehicle, and it's going to help the person that's buying your vehicle feel more comfortable about purchasing the car because it's going to have these recent repairs done to it. So just keep your receipts, and remember that O'Reilly's and AutoZone are your friend.
Yeah, if you can do it on your own, it's way cheaper than paying a mechanic to do it. But even then, it's not that expensive to pay somebody else to fix your brakes. But obviously, if you can do it yourself, or you know somebody who can help you, save every penny you can.
Pretty simple.
Tip number 5 is have all of the paperwork. I always keep my receipts for everything I've done to all of my vehicles, from oil changes to new tires, any work that I've done. The next owner really appreciates having that track record of work that was performed while you owned it. And if you changed the oil or fluids or did any mechanical work yourself, keep a log of when it was done and the receipts from when you purchased the fluids or the parts. I personally only buy from private owners who have all of this information. And to be honest, I'm probably more picky than most people about who I buy from, just a little bit. But I prefer single previous owners, 2 previous owners max. And if they don't have all their paperwork, I'm not going to buy it from them. I want to know what that vehicle's history is and have a good idea of what kind of mechanical issues I might be getting myself into. I also require that they provide a Carfax, which tells you what the vehicle's history is, like accident history, service history, and ownership history. If they want to sell the vehicle and there's nothing to hide, then they should be more than happy to provide proof that the vehicle is what they're claiming it is. And if you're selling your car, you need to be willing to do the exact same thing for them. So years ago, I was in the market to buy a truck, and I remember one person had the exact truck that I wanted, but they were refusing to provide a Carfax report. So I paid for one, and sure enough, the vehicle had been totaled before, and the owner wasn't being honest about it. Another time, I was looking at somebody else's truck. They were really sketchy about providing a Carfax report, but finally did. And sure enough, they told me that they were the only owner of that vehicle, but the Carfax listed them as the 4th owner. So if you lie to me about the vehicle's history and I catch you, there is no way in hell I'm going to buy it from you. So just be honest with people. Don't be that dirtbag who sells someone a piece of crap and doesn't tell the buyer about any of the problems.
Like, you can sell a car if it has problems. Just tell them what those problems are so the person knows what they're getting themselves into. There's a lot of people that buy vehicles with issues and then they fix them to resell them.
Right.
Or they have the mechanical knowledge just to fix them so they could use them themselves. So just because your car has problems doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to sell it. But, the whole having integrity and just being honest with whoever it is that's trying to buy the vehicle makes the process a lot easier for you.
It goes a long way, too.
Yeah.
If they don't trust you, probably not going to buy a car from you.
Now, large mechanical issues are the only time that we'd recommend trading in a vehicle. You'll probably never get your money back if you had to swap out an engine or a transmission. Trust me, I know from personal experience. I had to swap out an engine in one of my previous cars, and I never got the money back when I finally sold it. If it's going to cost you $5,000 to put in that new engine and your car is only worth $8,000, then it's probably not worth the $5,000 just to get $3,000 back when you sell the car. If it were me, I would just go trade it in at a car dealership and get my little $5,000 or $6,000 and walk away. To me, it's not worth repairing your car if it's not worth that much in the first place.
As a quick recap, wash and wax your car. Change the oil,
Yep.
check the tires, fix small mechanical issues,
Okay.
and have all of your paperwork ready for the buyer.
If you're in the market to get a new vehicle because you're selling your current vehicle and you want to finance your next vehicle, but your credit's not exactly where you need it to be, make sure you check out our system on how to build your credit on autopilot. It's a free download, and the link is going to be in the description below. It can help you build your credit faster, which is important if you're planning on financing your next vehicle.
If you like this video, make sure and check out the next video, which is Car Insurance Explained. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.